Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into the Australia's Tabletop Wargaming Network. Once again, as per usual, I am ScottyD, and tonight I am joined by Alex. How you doing, mate?
Really good. How are you?
Yeah, going well, thanks, brother. Going well. And Andrew,
Ahoy.
how you doing, brother?
Yeah, good.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. And tonight we have got the Capital Clash Em Boyz tournament preview for you all, where we're going to be looking at the tournament, the format. We're going to be talking a bit about the meta that is present, as well as some notable lists, and yeah, hearing a bit more about Andrew as well. So if you are joining us live, welcome into everyone who is in Twitch chat. Lovely to have you joining us. But if you are watching us on YouTube as well, we do these the week of the tournament that we will be covering here on the network. So I will be down at Capital Clash this weekend doing the tournament coverage for the tournament. Really excited to be heading down, as last year's event was great, and I'm excited to see what this year's event is going to be all about as well. And so, yeah, that's basically where we're going to be going through for this evening. So yeah, I will get Andrew to start us off. Do you want to just give us a bit of a background about yourself, how long you've been in the hobby, what armies you play, and such as well? Just to introduce yourself to everybody.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, when I was younger, I think like all of us, we all delved into Warhammer at some point, and then decided I thought I'd grow up, got rid of a lot of the Warhammer, and then realized that, nope, definitely needed more of it, and just invested even more.
Good on you.
So, yeah, I came back partway through 9th, fiddled around there, went straight back to Guard, because that was my original army, and then have kind of branched into all sorts, just because I like trying new things. Current army at the moment, so I started at over Christmas, my wife got me the Beast Snagger Stampede set, so I'd always been wanting to get orcs for ages. Knew the book was coming soon, so I figured it was a good time to jump in and commit to that. So now I have a lot of orcs, a lot of painting to do, but yeah, loving the new book. So,
what's your new favorite detachment? What are you planning?
I love Green Tide. It's quite good. I'm also really want Cult of Speed to work. I think there may be something there, but what it is, it's just being overshadowed by obviously Bully Boys and Green Tide at the moment. Dread Mob's a lot of fun. Fiddle with that a bit as well. If you're happy enough blowing half your army up, it's good fun. Yeah,
I think they did a really good job of making them all really fun and engaging to play.
Yeah,
but I think you've also undersold yourself a little bit, because you also were a coach for the ACT team.
Yeah, I did head on down there and help out, so that was good fun, good experience. So
great vibe. Yep, we got to catch up
pretty
a bit,
good.
Which was nice.
Yeah.
And I wish I could be here for this event, but of course, my sister had to go get engaged. So
yes, it's very rude of her, really.
I know, it's a bit selfish. Yeah. But that's okay. And how long have you been actually doing this? So why don't we talk a bit about more the history of Capital Clash and how you kind of started and what the vision was and where it is today.
Yep. Okay, so when I got back into the hobby, first tournament I came to was one of the Grim Series ones. Sam was running it then, Sam Lemon. Great guy, super friendly, made me feel really comfortable sort of being a new guy, turning up. So that was awesome. I think at the second tournament, might have even been the first one, honestly, I met Dom Proctor, who runs the Exterminator series out at Wagga. And we got chatting. Didn't even know his event existed. Turned up to his event, helped pack some stuff up here and there, and just said, "Oh, look, if you need a hand, more than happy to help because I'd like to be involved." And over time, gradually just worked my way into that committee. So basically, Capital Clash was me wanting to run a bigger event in Canberra because there aren't really any, apart from CanCon, I guess. I wanted to run one outside of that and sort of just on its own, and also to mirror the ethos, I suppose, of the Exterminatus ones, which is focused on hobby and just having a good time and rewarding sportsmanship and sort of, everyone, just a bit of beer hammer as well. There's always
you got to have another reason to go to Canberra aside from Questacon, right?
Yeah, there's not a lot of other reasons, is there? Especially not at this time as it's cooling down.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, unless you work there like me, and you need to go down there once every so
even
often.
then it's a stretch, right? Like,
yeah.
No, that's good. I mean, look, I think, a large majority of people have gone to, like, example Exterminatus in the past, which has been running for quite some time, and Clash is, getting there to be really consistent now, which is amazing. But the ethos of what you guys are trying to do there has been always great fun. I went to my first one this year, actually, and I had a blast. I mean, I think we all had a blast. It was great. It was great being rewarded for some sportsmanship as well. But still playing high level 40k, so it was it was great, great fun.
For sure.
So just trying to mirror the same thing and bring it across to Canberra, I guess. So this will be the second year running it. So few changes this year, just a different venue, and we moved the dates. So we'll see how it goes. That could be subject to change, but we'll see.
Yeah,
definitely.
For sure. So, to get into a bit of the meat and potatoes, you could say, about the event, let's jump into talking a bit about the tournament format. If I can just find the right window that I've got it sitting on. Here we go. Oh no, it's not connecting properly. That's stat check. We don't want stat check yet. We want this one. All right, so we got the players.
Wait, where's that mech? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, don't even get me started because Death Watch is lower.
yeah. That's right. They're joining Inquisition next, right? They get squatted. Yeah.
Definitely happening.
Just that's gonna hurt my soul. Anyway, moving on. Everyone here
You'll be the number one Inquisition player in Australia, mate. Don't worry.
Imperial agents, here I come.
You'll be the only one, but you'll be number one. That's fine.
Default. Cool. So it's at the Belcon and Raiders Club, which is, as Andrew said, bit of a change in venue. For those who are watching, we've got the tournament pack up on screen as well. 5 rounds, 52 players. I believe we are up to 45 players.
45, yeah.
Which is still awesome. Considering the time of year in Canberra being quite cold as well. Then
it's getting there.
Yeah. Still running Leviathan because Prior Nexus isn't too far away. It's probably a couple of months out. Maybe late June, early July is kind of what I'm anticipating. So we'll see what happens there, but still
just
running...
before WTC, it's going to happen.
Oh, that's going to wreak some havoc.
That would kill it.
Yeah, it would.
May or may not be around the same time as the slate.
I'm expecting they actually put them all 3 together. They drop the missions the same time as the slate and the points, so then it's all well balanced going into the next 12 months the next 3 months in the next 12-month season for 40k. All right, running GW layouts for missions. So I know previously last year, Andrew, you picked, I think it was 3 different layouts across the board. Have you decided to go with 3 again, or have you pared it down to 2? What's kind of been your approach there?
So day 1 will be 3 different layouts, which suit all of the different missions. So it'll kind of just be a random layout on each table. So like every 3 will be 1, 2, 3, whatever layout it is, and just rotate. So it's kind of, they all suit the one. And then day 2 is only 2, just because of the deployments. So there are only a couple of layouts that actually suited it. Yep.
Yeah, makes sense. In terms of the schedule, 2 hours, 45-minute rounds, which is, we were saying this before stream, I actually think this is becoming the more commonplace round time, if possible, within the Australian scene. Sometimes you'll see 3 hours, sometimes you'll see 2.5, and that 2.5 might just be down to restrictions. Maybe it's in a gaming store and they've got limited opening hours to be able to play in. But 2 hours 45 seems to be a really solid spot. Gives you that 15 minutes at the start of a round to go run through lists, set up the objectives, all that fun stuff that you need to do, deploy, and then you've actually ended up getting about an hour 15 per player, which breaks down to about 15 minutes per turn. So there's actually no reasonable reason why players shouldn't actually be getting through their games at this time frame, at least in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I mean, last year we ran 3 hours, but part of the reason for that was Capital Clash was just under a month after 10th edition had dropped. So I wanted to give everyone else a bit extra time because there were quite a few fresh people trying to learn the rules. So a bit extra time really helped out there. I feel like this time around I had to start a little bit later. So last year we were in about half an hour earlier. This time with the venue I couldn't get in as early, so I shuffled everything. I think everyone is at a point now where they understand the basics of the rules. So that 15 minutes shouldn't hurt anyone.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Then in terms of you've got, obviously a clause about, unsportsmanlike conduct, ITT code of conduct's in effect as well. Health and safety, your forfeits policy. This is actually something that I don't see too many TOs actually include in their packs anymore. So I kind of actually want to highlight this. You're
gonna make me bring it up now.
No, it's all good. I've got it on the screen, so I'll read it. So you're expected to be on time for your round. There'll be a 15-minute grace period at the start of any games where you won't be penalized. Given the opportunity to attend your scheduled game after 15 minutes. The player who doesn't get to the table or doesn't, for whatever reason, doesn't rock up to the event, basically forfeits their round, and their opponent receives full points. However, if a TO has been contacted prior to the game, then you can, use of discretion from the TOs with regards to what'll happen with that game.
Yep. And I mean, this isn't a steadfast, you're 16 minutes at the table because you got caught up with lunch. It took a while to order. This is more for someone just not showing up and then turning up an hour later and expecting still to be able to play and get points. So it's definitely within our discretion. It would depend on the attitude too, I suppose, the person coming back, and the expectation behind.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. What else have we got in here? Obviously, it's in a club, so expect to wear presentable clothing. It's not something you can just probably not that you would want to at this time of year in Canberra, rock in stubbies and a singlet.
No, it could be a bit cold.
Yeah. But yeah, appropriate dressing, what to bring, of course, is what you should expect, for players to be bringing. Rules cutoff being, I think it was 2 days before list submission, or was it?
I think it was a week before.
No, it was a week. A week before. But there was one little clause with that I put out about the Tower Codex, just because we weren't entirely sure when those points were going to drop. So I just stretched that rules cut off till basically Sunday, I believe it was in my post.
Yes.
Look out, players. So, no, I'm kidding.
Well, we got the points anyway.
Yeah. So they got their points. They can run it all. So that was fine.
Yep.
Seemed a bit arbitrary to cut it off if it was only going to drop the next day. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Then of course, legends aren't in use. 30k isn't in use. Match play armies, 2,000 points, so your traditional 40k format for your competitive games. Then we come to prizes, which you've got best sportsman, so highest number of player votes, player's choice, so best presented voted by players, best general, so the winner of the tournament, last place, or the coveted wooden spoon, some might say, TO's award, so someone that's been picked out by the TOs by showing, being exemplar of the hobby, as you've said in the pack. I actually quite like the next two you've got. Local legend, so the highest, or the best representative from the Canberra region. And I know Canberra can be quite small, like you've got Queanbeyan out there. Does it kind of like extend out to like Goulburn or Braidwood or any of those areas, or is it just Canberra?
Sort of, that kind of, it's this southern region.
Okay, cool. Good to
They're still
understand.
local
Love
enough.
those Sydney scrubs.
Well, nah, bugger those guys.
Well, I mean, they can get the next one, which is Traveling Titan,
Exactly.
which is the opposite. So anyone that's not from within that region can vie for the Traveling Titan. And then there's Lucky Door prizes and such as well.
Yeah, best painted.
And best painted.
And best painted, I believe I did miss that one.
Yeah, it's at the top. It's got its own big section there.
Yes. Yep, best
And there's
painted
a little
there.
bit under there just explaining prizes and how it works.
Yep, perfect. Now the tournament, ITC ranked and down under 40k ranked as well. So those points will go into rankings for your results. Then you've got your standard for painting is your 3 colors minimum. All models to WYSIWYG to a reasonable standard as well, which is great to see.
Yep.
Clearance process for 3D printed or alternative models.
Yep.
For players and such. So, it's always good to see, because I've seen events where they haven't done a fully fleshed out players pack, and they're like, okay, it feels like there's a lot of detail missing. Whereas what I like about your pack, Andrew, is that you cover everything.
Yeah, I can't take all the credit for that. This is an Exterminatus one. And it's been built on over the years. So every time something gets missed or something pops up in a tournament, it gets added.
Yep.
And then we just reuse it, change the dates and everything we need to.
Yep.
And that way we're covering everything. So,
Perfect. Then we've something that hasn't really made too much of an appearance, but it does make its appearance at Exterminatus. It's the slow play points, which was something that I remember being a thing way back in 7th edition. That I was doing stuff with events. So basically the way it works is, if your game ends prematurely, so if it ends rounds 1, 2, or 3, there's an accumulation of slow play points, and then for every 13 slow play points, you lose 10% of your overall score. And of course, that's also at the TO's discretion is when it's applied as well.
that would come into play, I suppose, if someone, especially if they've been using a clock. But on the flip side, if you're using a clock, you shouldn't really have the slow play issue, because if the other person clocks out, then that's that. Yeah. So ultimately, if basically that is trying to cover it in case you're not using a clock, there should be some clocks available, and I know a lot of people have clocks now. There's nothing wrong with using a clock. And you definitely shouldn't feel offended if someone asks to use a clock. It only helps the two of you, honestly, to complete your game and to have a fair and even game. Yep.
100% agree. And then in terms of the way that you're doing your pairing, so round 1 obviously is completely random, and then following that afterwards, it's by player rank. So I know BCP's got a lot of different options. Are you with that following the way the Leviathan pack is laid it out, or another option that BCP allows for?
I honestly can't remember how I set it up.
Fair enough.
So
most likely default then, and default would be that it's...
There was a couple of changes in there, but it was Swiss to start with. And then it should be pairing within like a win-win.
Yeah.
And probably closer scores. Whatever it is.
Yep.
And then there was a couple of other things for finalizing
it. Better points than probably strength of schedule.
Yeah.
Win opponents.
Set up something like that.
Opponents win percentage. Yeah. Follow through that. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right, good to be aware of, because I know some events do follow the Leviathan way of doing it, which is following more the strength of play rather than the actual points at the end of the as the second point after win-loss.
Yeah, no, I contacted a few people, and I looked a few things up as well across running events and trying to make sure that the way it was all put together was working nicer, so that there was less issues at the end. Yeah. Not that I'm saying there's going to be issues, but you never know. So just try and nip it in the bud before we even have them.
Yeah. And then just a question for you from Full Sack in chat. Where's his clock, Sussig?
Where's his clock?
Full Sack.
Yeah. I know who it is. It's Todd. And I have it, and it's probably 2 meters away from me, mate, and you know I have it, so...
Just thought I'd throw that out there, and thanks to everyone in chat who is joining us as well. Great to have you all with us.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the last point you've got in there is fun. Like we all play this hobby for the fun of it, and I think that should be paramount, even in a competitive setting. And I think your tournament last year was very much in line with what Exterminatus does, and it was very, even though it was a competitive atmosphere, there wasn't that. I guess I'm not sure if you guys have maybe been around like War Machine events or some other like competitive MTG events. Or just seeing them happening, it can be quite quite tension driven, like within the atmosphere in general. There was none of that last year, so I'm which is always great to see.
Yep, that's what we'll go for again.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, that basically covers it in terms of the players pack for that side of things.
We go into the missions.
Yeah, we can look at the missions because they weren't actually in the pack, which I've actually got written down in front of me, so we can have a look at them in some detail here. So the first mission, and I'm going to read them out in terms of deployment, then mission rule, then primary mission, just for everyone in chat, so I'm not saying deployment, mission rule, etc. every time after each one. So it's search and destroy. This is round 1, search and destroy with hidden supplies, so extra objective. And priority targets. So this is, score max of 10 per battle round, up to 15 at the end of the game.
Yep.
I don't mind this one being the first one because if you're playing kind of more on a more Swiss standard, you end up, this is a mission where a lot of people get high scores at the start. So it still keeps, the field quite open because there's a lot of people with wins at the start of the game. And then it just brings it down a bit closer and closer afterwards where you get a bit more of a more traditional Swiss where people are actually adequately ranked after 2 games instead of 1.
Yeah, I thought I'd put this one in here, and that way people who knew how this mission worked would probably score quite high, and then they all get to pair into each other round 2.
Yeah, I've personally played this mission as well. I think it is, out of the Leviathan pack, I think it's one of maybe 2 or 3 great round 1 missions for exactly the points you guys have shared. Round 2 is Crucible of Battle with Chilling Rain and Purge the Foe. So, Crucible is your angled hammer and anvil. Then, no mission rule with Chilling Rain, but then Purge the Foe is basically old school 40k, if you're familiar with 8th edition, back with the Champions missions, where it was hold 1, hold more, kill 1, kill more, basically every battle round and every turn.
Yep.
And you get 4 points per, so you can score a maximum of 16 points per player per battle round. So now the kills are determined at the end of the battle round in terms of who has more, and then the objectives are scored during the player turn.
And the command phase,
Yep, and a command phase. So yeah, I like Purge the Foe as a mission. I do like that you haven't gone with, like, there's some options out there that you can go and you can throw in, say, secret intel, or you could throw in, I forget what the other, minefields. I'm more thinking about the one card that means you draw an additional card, or you play 2 fixed and you're drawing a card. So you actually have to keep track of 7 things at once.
I don't think I've ever seen it. Yeah, really. Like in a lot of the events we've been doing, luckily, that doesn't end up being a thing in the I guess in the more competitive thing. That Minefield, some of the other ones, they just don't work. I don't think. So it's good. It's good we hovered away from them pretty quickly in the Australian community.
Yeah. I think the ones that typically get seen, like we don't have this one in here, but scrambler fields can sometimes be thrown in, and supply lines as well for that CP from holding your home field one to make that objective important, particularly when you've got a mission where you're actually not getting any points for holding your home. So it then makes that objective important in a game sense for you as well.
Yep.
So then round 3. We've got Sweeping Engagement with Chosen Battlefield, so this is player-placed objectives, and your traditional Take and Hold. So really simple for round 3. The players being quite fatigued after the first 2 rounds. It's easy, it's straightforward. It's your angled Dawn of War style deployment, and I think this is a great round 3 mission.
Yeah.
I just wish the mission itself was a bit different, where there was already a set objective in the middle. And that way, when you're doing it, each player only just puts in 2 objectives, and then you roll off the deployment side. I think that would just make the mission so much stronger on a balance perspective. Because right now, you can definitely win the roll off first, to then get 3 objectives, and then win the roll off again for picking side. And you're also a defender, so then you also get to infiltrate at the same time before anyone else does. So it's just like a triple whammy that can just go boom. But yeah, it's a scary mission. If I was to do it, I would do it probably around 3 as well, just to see
who's still awake.
React. Yeah. I wouldn't want to do it round 4. That would, you just get in and have to do that straight away. That'd be nuts.
It would take a lot of brain power around 4, I feel, because you're like,
and you don't want it the final round either.
No.
So it's if you're gonna do it, you do it definitely now.
Yeah, because it'll be one that you use to break up the pack, basically. Of those higher, those 2-0 players that are now hitting each other. It's like you really separate them out with this one.
Yeah, the way it should work is, your first one is easy to score high if you know and understand how to play it. The second one is around actually interacting more with your opponent and seeing how many people can make it to that next stage. And the last one is how do you actually recover when things aren't going your way. So I guess like you're kind of going through like a step-by-step stage to see, and then that way you get like a real true indication on a skill level, once you kick into round 4.
Yeah, so speaking of round 4, it's Hammer and Anvil, so short table edges, with Chilling Rain and Sights of Power. So this one is you get 3 points for holding each objective, up to a max of 15, but there is another caveat there where if you hold an objective with a character in no man's land, I also believe it's potentially your opponent's deployment zone objective as well for Sights of Power, but it doesn't count as your own home. Not 100% certain off the top of my head though. You get an additional 3 points. So if you hold an objective with a unit that's got a character in it and the character's on that objective, you get 6 points, up to a max of 15 every turn. So this one, you kind of have to prepare for it in list writing, because if you don't have adequate characters, then you can't necessarily, you're fighting to control 4 objectives, which is the 3 in midfield and your home, to score 12 points. So it can be quite limiting if you don't have, I think 3 characters is a sweet spot. 3 or 4 characters depending on the list and the faction. So if you've got those characters available to have on those objectives, then you're able to really get those extra points. But it can be one where you can potentially score quite low on your primary because you just don't have the characters to allocate onto those objectives consistently, or you need them elsewhere doing things.
This is where I wish I had my, I wish I was playing even more, because I have, in my latest Firestorm list, there's 7 characters, featuring uppy downy and jumping around, fallback shoot and charge, all this other stuff, and reactive move 6. So that would be an absolute godsend, but we'll have to wait next time. Just make every other mission next capital Sights of Power for me. You can even make it 4 objectives. I don't care. It's fine.
Yeah, nice. And then the final mission, and this one I'm very intrigued to see why you picked this one, Andrew. Search and Destroy Table Quarters, Chilling Rain with Supply Drop. Why the choice of Supply Drop behind this one for the final mission?
So everyone, I suppose some people have Supply Drop's a bit funny, the way it works. I had, so you will notice in the pack that there is no Dawn of War.
Good.
I had lots of people grumbling about Dawn of War, so I was like, you know what? You won't get Dawn of War, but you'll get a difficult last mission. I'm still not going to make it all super easy, so you're still going to have to think at the end and make this work. So that was the reasoning behind, was last year I did the 3 angle/corner deployment day 1. And then day 2 I did a Dawn of War and Hammer and Anvil, because that's the way the terrain layouts worked out. This time I just got rid of Dawn of War, didn't bother with it, and then put in this one. And something, it's really going to see who round 5 can pull it out of the bag.
I think we have a soundboard of everyone's reaction to this and what happened. And when they saw supply drop, they were really happy. Obviously, with no doing all, but afterwards they were like,
He was like, "Oh, bitch."
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's that initial take. They're all like, "Oh yeah, sick." Oh, actually, no.
Yes, and I think that's why
Can't have everything.
Yeah.
No.
I think it was really interesting the way that you put it as well on the actual post you did, because you put the mission letters. You didn't actually fully extend them out.
Yeah,
So-
well then people have got to actually read it and figure out what they're doing.
Yeah. Yep.
Wait, you guys haven't memorized it based on letter yet? No, I'm kidding.
So...
Yeah, so
Just in time for it to all change. Everyone will memorize it.
Yep. So yeah, so for those who mightn't be, familiar with supply drop, basically turn 3, one objective gets, is it turn 3 or turn 4, one objective gets
Turn
picked
4.
up, and then turn 5, another objective gets picked up. And then the points go up accordingly. It's a really hard mission to score max points on primary on as well. So
Yeah, you don't get primary for your home, so it's a weird game. The thing I like supply drop, but I'm also a Massachusetts at heart, right? So the reason I like it is because traditionally it is like at the end of the day, you get the most amount of primary points by holding the objective final round. So typically that promotes a stamina based game where you have to really kind of hold out, be safe, and then just play a game. But at the same time, if you're not scoring anything on your home, you're losing primary. So it's a stamina game while also having to work out smart trades and push the enemy accordingly. So the people that really excel at that, I think, have a really good skill set in 40k and a really good understanding, because it's different. You need to have 2 adaptive styles happening at the same time simultaneously in order for you to actually achieve a victory in that mission.
Yeah. Again, it's another thing that you can ensure you've got the ability to do that within your list building as well. At the same time, so it kind of promotes this take all comers style approach where you've got some mobility, you've got some damage dealing, as well as having those objective scoring pieces for your secondaries as well. So yep. I really like it. It's quite a balanced mission pack overall, I would say, Andrew, for the 5 rounds you've picked.
Yeah. Yep, put some consideration into it, so hopefully it all works out.
Yeah.
No minefields, coward. No, I'm kidding.
I'll keep it in mind for you next time.
Just round
It'd be
1
better if
next
it was
time.
you rolled 1s instead of 6s.
1s or 6s. Make it
1s
harder.
or 6s, yeah, double it up.
Or just anytime you advance. Get rid of it. Make worse. Make the new CSM worse, actually. There you go.
Yeah. All right. I reckon we're at that point, gents. Alex?
Yeah, I was going to say I think we're thinking the same thing. Let's talk about the actual players that are attending. I think you've already set it up the meta breakdown for us. This is going to be awesome. We'll maybe pick out a few people that are attending, some of the top players, aside from me, because I'm not there. So, who cares who wins now at this point? It's whatever.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of big names in attendance. The majority of the ACT and New South Wales ANZTC teams are in attendance. Bar Alex, of course, from New South Wales side of things, unfortunately. But there's, it's not an easy event by any means. There's a lot of big names. You got, just off the top of my head, Dale Marr, Ewart Surley, Nathan Princey. Unfortunately, Richard Hill was going to be there. Unfortunately, he's had to drop. And you've got some up and comers as well that we're going to look at as well, like Jake Tanawi from Sydney. He's there with Votan. There's Jack. Forget his name. Willoughby. Yes, we're looking at his list. Actually, he's one of the lists we're looking at. He's an up and comer in the ACT as well. Of course, you got Rowan Kennett. Aaron Warren, a whole bunch of guys. Jordan McGregor, Jordan Palmer, all these guys from Sydney that are coming down as well that are top-notch players. So it's going to be a real like Shark Tank style of an event as well. And of course, you've got Todd coming from Wagga, and I think a couple of other Wagga guys as well.
Yeah, there's a couple of Wagga boys coming down. So
yeah, got to.
As soon as the bar opens, I'd say they'll be straight there.
Yeah. So we'll jump into the meta breakdown. So 45 players in attendance. There is one change that is not on screen that we'll notify you guys of, as we have mentioned. So first up, we've got Space Marines. There's 9 players in attendance, which makes up approximately 19.6% of the meta. There's 2 Blood Angels, 2 Dark Angels, 2 Space Wolves, 2 Ultramarines, and 1 Black Templar.
This surprises me.
It surprises me too.
So I've been talking up Sally's for about a month here, and all of a sudden now we have 4 other. I was going to say a swear word. Well, yeah, fuck it. 4 other fuckers that are playing the Sally's list now. I haven't even gotten them to an RTT yet, but I've been talking it up so much that everyone's playing them. And actually, online now, people have started taking them to tournaments. I think Vicestorm are in a pretty good spot. Obviously, Space Wolves, everyone saw what you did, at NZTC, the clapping, for lack of a better word. I mean, so that's going to be really exciting. Black Templars, took a little bit of a hit with the Ironstone list. Ultramarines are still really good, solid. You can have, good flex builds like within Vanguard, or you can have some really, or an even more flex build, I guess, in Gladius. Blood Angels, took a few nerfs, but it's still really good. Dark Angels took a few buffs, so it'll be really cool to see. But yeah.
Yeah, through looking...
No Firestorm, so who cares?
Yeah. Like, I having a brief look at the list, there's a couple of niche takes. I think there is a Ravenwing Task Force. There's a Deathwing Strike Force detachment in there. There's your 2 Dark Angels. Both Blood Angels are Gladiuses. Both Space Wolves are Stormlance. Ultramarines, I think there's 1 Gladius, maybe 2 Gladius. I'm not 100% certain from that one. And then Black Templars, I believe, is the Black Templar build for Righteous Crusaders. But I could be wrong on that one. But yeah, it's it's good to see some variety. But again, it's still the staple stuff that we're kind of seeing. Gladius is still quite popular. With some other factions thrown in. Space Wolf Jail is in
BT
there too.
is Gladius apparently.
Oh,
according
Black
to Makari the Goat in the chat.
Thank you for letting us know that it is also Gladius. Okay, so majority is Gladius. Cool. All right. Next up, we've got
vanilla indeed.
Yeah. Imperium, which is 8 players, making up approximately 17.4% of the meta, with 2 Adeptus Custodes, 2 Adeptus Sororitas, 2 Imperial Knights, 1 Ash Militarum, and 1 Grey Knights. I'd
love to see the comparison of what we had at Exterminatus last time versus this, and the number of guard players is just like...
It was 9.
Night and day different, right?
Yeah, It was like 9 guard players.
It was. I remember.
It was... a lot. For some reason, the Riverina loves their guard.
Yep.
No AdMech. Why? Getting me on.
I could say
cool. It's good to see there's still some custodians.
Yes. 2 Custodes players. If I just quickly have a look at BCP, I can probably tell you who they are, actually. So Tim Zuba. Yep. One of the ACT guys. He's jumped on from Knights over to Custodes. And then Phil Richardson from the Recruits has jumped on Custodes as well. So one of the Sydney guys. But yeah, 2 Knight players is kind of interesting. When we get into the next faction, you'll kind of see that, it means that Knights are about 10% of the total makeup, or just over 10%, which is kind of important to be aware of. Ash Militarum is being played by Paul from the ACT, and Grey Knights is being played by Cody from the ACT as well. So there's definitely some niche factions being taken by a couple of players too, which is good. Then we've got Chaos, which is 8 players, so again roughly 17.4%. This is where the drop is as well. And we got Darren coming in with a 5-month resub. Thank you so much, my friend. Great to have you joining us. Same with everyone in chat. Thank you so much for your support in joining us, all the follows and subs and such as well. So 3 Chaos Knight players. We've then got 1 Death Guard. which Richard was the second Death Guard. That's where the drops occurred. 1 Chaos Space Marine, 1,000 Sun, and 1 World Eater. No demons. However,
there's probably a lot of Nurglings though.
Oh yeah, I saw
there's a bajillion Nurglings.
I think I counted 15 plus Nurglings across
units,
all of these
not models.
lists.
Yeah, units.
Yeah, units of Nurgs.
Yeah,
like Chaos Space Marines, I think is taking 4. I think Death Guard's taking maybe 3.
I think all of them are except for Thousand Sons and World Eaters because they can't.
Yeah.
Right? Like Chaos Knights, I think every single one will have Nurglings. Death Guard will have it. CSM will have it. You know, between that's how many people are running the faction. You got 1, 2. You got 5 people running the faction. There's 15 of them. There's 3 units each.
Yeah. Well, they're battle lines, so some of them actually taken 4.
There you go.
So yeah, I know the Chaos Space Marines, and I think Richard's Death Guard had 4 in them from memory.
Well, there you go.
Maybe the other Death Guard. But yeah, you know, you got some faction specialists as well, with Nathan Princey jumping on World Eaters and Bren Cantwell on Thousand Sons as well. Both having some good performances as of late in the competitive scene as well. Bren being a relatively newcomer, and Princey coming back after a short hiatus.
Yeah, he's sold his custodies already, so he's good to go. Moved on.
Yeah. So yeah, and then Glaves in chat, Feud unfortunately did have to drop. So yeah, unfortunately he can't be there, but you know, hopefully, you know, our thoughts are with him with what he's going through at the moment. You know, next
he didn't want to see you, Glaive.
Well, Glaves actually isn't playing either, so.
You didn't know that.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Eldari, and this is a surprise to me personally. Eldari only has 3 players, making up approximately 6.5% of the meta. There's 2 Drukhari players, both of which are running Sky Splinter. That's not the surprising factor. There's 1 Eldari.
It's Dale, isn't it?
It's Dale.
It's 100% Dale.
So it's not an easy player on Eldari. Dale is an absolute gun on Eldari. He knows what he's doing. He's been playing the faction since the start of, I don't know, 8.
Well, it's the only faction he has played in 10th properly. He did do a bit of a dabble with some AdMech. But like realistically, you know, all his events have been, you know, you know, aside from one, have just been pushing this and going hard. So he knows the faction in and out. He knows what he's doing. But more importantly, he knows how to play that faction into other factions. So you know, as long as he doesn't go into like Green Tide, I don't think there'll be any other blowouts.
Yeah. Or he faces people regularly who are actually knowing what he does with Eldari and knows how his list plays. Could be, you know, they would have that extra option of being able to have that knowledge and weaponize that against him in games if they've played him previously with this list.
I mean, it helps, but it's still Eldar.
Yes.
And Dale knows what he's doing with them. So
Speaking of lack of representation, though, Hive Mind, we have 0 Gene Stealer cults.
Yes.
And there are 3 players overall in the Hive Mind. They're all Tyranids.
Yep.
And I believe they're all probably vastly different lists, right? You probably have 1 Vanguard, 1 Invasion, maybe 1 Nexus.
I think
don't know.
2 are actually Vanguard. Which is...
Oh, yes, of course. I wrote one of the lists.
So, got to call it out. Taylor Hill, who has been playing GSC for who knows how long, has finally jumped off the faction, but not jumped too far, because now he's playing Tyranids. And he's playing Vanguard. Playing Vanguard Tyranids. And then you got Rowan Kennan as well, who is also playing Vanguard Tyranids as well. Very similar to his Uprising list, actually. Just some small tweaks to it.
Yep.
And then you've got Xenos in general. This is the largest super faction, having 15 players in attendance, making up approximately 32.6% of the meta. 5 Orcs, 4 Leagues of Votann, 3 Necrons, and 3 Tau. That's now, of course, Votann have still, out of these 4 factions, Votann the only one that don't have their codex yet. Orcs, there's a decent amount of diversity. I believe there's a Warhorde list, there's a Green Tide list, there's a Speed Freaks list.
Cult of Speed, and then there's the Big Hunt.
Yep. The Big Hunt, and then I think there might be a second one of maybe Green Tide
I think it's Bully Boys.
or
I think
Bully
there's a
Boys,
couple.
yeah. Wasn't sure if Bully Boys would be in there as well, but yeah, good to see, representation across the entire codex as well, considering it's only just dropped.
Yeah, that's like, it was one of the first times you see like every single detachment being used in a codex.
I think it's just the Dread mob not being used.
Yes,
which is funny because that's hella fun as well, right? But
yeah, it's so much fun.
The variation there is sick, but the biggest surprise for me is Leagues of Votan. Obviously, getting quite a high representation. It's basically Blood Angels, Dark Angels combined. It's Custodes and Sisters combined. It's it's a lot.
Yeah, very much so. And I'm just having a look to see who we have got on Votan. You've got Jake Tanawi, who is jumping on Votan. You have got Ben Peel and Alistair Kerr, both jumping on Leagues of Votan. Those two are Canberra players. And then I've just got to find the fourth player, which I'm just scrolling through now. Sean Bauman is the fourth. So you got two guys from Sydney boys, and two Canberra boys jumping on Votan, which is great to see. Necrons, not seeing too much representation. You've got, as we were saying before, you got Jack Willoughby. You've also got Igor Kalanin jumping in as well. And I think there's another Necron. Tim Evers is also running Necrons, another Canberra local. All three are vastly different lists. I think, and they're all different detachments as well. One is, Canoptic Court, which is Igor's. Jack's running Hypercrypt, and then Tim is actually running Obsidian Phalanx.
Good on him.
And
that's cool. Get those Lich Guard going.
Yeah,
there's no Lich Guard or Praetorians in there.
What? It's okay. It's Silent King.
Silent King's in there, and I think he's running like 2 or 3 Tesseract bolts, or two. Yeah, so bringing the big stuff.
Happy wins,
basically.
Yeah.
That's almost as good as running Firestorm. So
and then the last one is Tau Empire with 3 players. Now we've got a couple of vets on here as well. You've got Kirby, who is running Tau. You've also then got who else? Because it's only a small faction. Liam Flanagan is jumping on Tau as well. And then you have also got, if I keep on scrolling up, I'm sure I'll find them. I think a Canberra local. I'm not sure how I'm going to pronounce this name, so Andrew,
I was waiting for this.
Yeah. Adhikar?
Timothy Chalamet. No.
Andrew, you could probably correct me on the pronunciation.
Oh no, I don't know. I don't know.
Too easy. Well, apologies if I
yours.
mispronounced that one. With Tau, it's great to see the new codex getting some representation as well, with their points finally being released. Because the Tau Codex's main release was actually delayed in Australia as well.
Yeah, it was.
So
any running the Crypt attachment?
I don't believe so.
I know it's a meme because it's me with Crypt, but it is actually the best attachment. So I'm keen to see how everyone's hobby lag afterwards if they migrate towards it, because it's an absolute beast.
Yeah. And then Glaves, I know who it is, but he said it can't be worse than people trying to pronounce his last name.
It's Xeri. That's how you pronounce it. I worked it out. It's Xeri.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so this leaves the faction podium actually unchanged. We've got Orcs coming in at first place with 5 players, making up 10.9% of the players in attendance. In second place is Leagues of Votan with 4 players, making up 8.7% of the total players. And then in third place, equal third across 4 factions, is Chaos Knights, Necrons, Tau Empire, and Tyranids, with 3 players each, making up 26% of the player base, meaning that the faction podium is 21 players, making up probably just over 46% of the total meta in attendance at Capital Clash. Guys, what do you think about the meta overall?
I'm pretty happy. I was pretty happy actually to see a pretty decent spread of just factions and variety within the factions as well. It was pretty cool. So be curious to see how it all pans out.
I I like that there's like about 5 combined knights total armies. This is going to be pretty scary to see.
Yep.
The Leagues of Votan is an interesting tech. Them getting popularity again hasn't happened since they got their first buff, which was judgment tokens everywhere. So maybe they've clued onto something. Maybe it works extremely well into some of these other matchups that are new and emerging, right? So you have things like Tau Empire with the Breach of Fish spam getting quite a bit of play. Maybe they have some really good output, and I know they have great output actually into breaches there. With Canacort and Hypercrypt getting a bit more nerfed. Maybe Lisa Votan having a bit more openings for what they can do as well. With Orcs emerging with whether it's the Dread Mob or the Green Tide, they have efficiency and volume, but they also have efficiency in dedicated anti-tank that can work well into those matchups as well. And look, they're great into Chaos Knights and Knights. So I mean, if the meta is actually showing that a lot of people play them within Canberra, these guys are pretty smart to actually bring it.
Yep. I think looking across all of them, they all kind of take slightly different variations, but there's some staple units, like the bikes are pretty well taken in 2 or 3 units of. Sagittars are taken quite popularly, at least 3 in each list. And then I think 3 out of the 4 lists have got at least 1 land fortress, if not 2. So there's some definitely like big heavy guns being taken in the list as well. And then, some might have Berserk, some might have the Iron here, Hearthguard, some might have some of the Thunderkin. It just really depends on what they're wanting to tech into a little bit outside of those core play pieces. But we are going to be looking at one Votan list as well that is actually quite interesting, that I think is going to be interesting to see how you guys take it. But with that kind of covered in terms of the faction podium and such, I think, very balanced and a great, overall look at how things are looking for the tournament.
It's interesting because there's another factor to consider with this whole new meta. This is probably the first GT we've had really since the slate is kind of hit, and that slate was pretty important because between that and codex changes, there was 3 codexes that come out. Custodes have dropped out of favor by quite a large degree. Otherwise, you would see maybe 6 or 7 people representing them. You've had Tau, emerge, and you've had Orcs emerge, and then you've also had a slate which is actually, quite heftily nerfed. Probably, common builds of say like guard lists and things like that. So the indirect lists are getting hit. So there's a lot of a shift, and I think what it does is it either gets people to find these really cool old combos that they want to actually test out into the meta that they predict, which is still a guessing game right now. But at the same time, also allows people to just play what they love. So I think you're gonna have a lot of people just playing what they love right now and being passionate about it, which is great.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So now we get to dig into some fun stuff, which is looking at a couple of lists we've picked out from the players that are in attendance. I know Glaves is asking if we could share the Grey Knight list. If we get time, we might have a look at it. We'll see how we go for time.
It's basically Grey Knights.
Yeah.
It's basically a sick knight list.
Yeah, right.
Dread Knights everywhere.
Yeah.
I think Glaive has an experience in that. We may not have played a matchup with that.
The question is, does it or does it not have Canis Rex?
What do you think?
I think it doesn't.
I
could be wrong.
Pretty sure
I think it does. Yeah.
I think it's much the same list as he took to ANZTC.
Yeah,
a few changes in there.
Yeah. All right. So first up, this is one of the spicy lists that I saw, and it's towards the bottom of the list where you'll see the spice. But this is Aaron Warren, one of the ACT's ANZTC guys. He's running Dark Angels Company of Hunters for Dark Angels. He's got Azrael as his warlord, a chaplain on bike with the Masters of Maneuver enhancement. Then 2 units of 5 assault intercessors with plasma pistols on the sergeants. Then 3 units of just 3 outriders, pretty homogenous. Then a unit of 6 Ravenwing Black Knights. There is a Dark Shroud with the assault cannon. Then double Redemptor Dreadnought, Both have got the Icarus rocket pods. One's got the plasma. The other's got the heavy onslaught. Both of them have got the small onslaughts and the twin storm. One's got twin storm bolter. One's got twin frag storm. And, obviously they've got their redemptor fists. Then a storm speed of thunderstrike. So it's got the storm fury missiles, the las talons. So pretty much anti-tank.
And then +1 a wound for the rest of his shooting against monsters and vehicles. So that's good.
Which is going to help, because he's then taken 2 Storm Ravens with twin las cannons, twin multi-melters, and 2 Hurricane Bolters, and 2 Storm Strike missile launchers.
What a mad lad. It's pretty funny, right? So the way this list works is you've got the Dark Shroud, so you get cover and stealth. So these are already more durable than what they are. They already have -1 damage. Inside these Storm Ravens, you can actually fit inside the Redemptors. So you send these forward, then drop down, and then just go ham. The Thunder Strike's there to give you +1 a wound. What else did they have? They had some Outriders, which are battle line, by the way, in the detachment I think he's brought up.
Yep.
Yes, so, they are.
They're just good fun, and he's got some Assault Units as well, just for, some objective play. And Black Knights. There you go, which can also be inside the Storm Raven. So there you go.
Yep. So it'll be interesting to see where Azrael goes, because really the only choice is in the Assault Intercessors.
Or just hangs out on his own if there's no indirect.
Yeah, sometimes people just put him by himself, sitting backline, just being a CP generator. But at other times they can put him inside with the Assault Ints. The thing is, if the Assault Ints are inside the transports, they won't want him there because he won't generate CP for him.
Yes.
So in that case, he'll definitely be running solo and playing that way.
Yep. I think this is a really interesting list. Having played around with a Storm Raven myself as of late, I see the appeal. They just put so much firepower out into what you need and in volume of the type. So the Hurricane Bolters, 12 shots at full range, 24 shots within half at twin linked. So you just go oaths on that thing and you reroll hit and you reroll in a wound. Doesn't matter if you're wounding on 5s because you're just putting out that many shots. You will convert wounds and will force saves. And then the twin multi-melter, twin las cannon, you don't necessarily need the support for them because you got reroll to wound already. So you can just go and, you could go with reroller hits if you want to. But with that +1 to wound from the Thunderstrike, it means that the multi-melter's then wounding on 4s, the las cannon more than likely is then on 2s.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So
I decided I'm going to be ranking all lists based on a 0 out of 10, based on how easy it is for my Firestorm list to destroy it. So this one, unfortunately I can just dev wound on average 12 wounds, so it kills the Storm Raven really quickly. But it's still a pretty spicy list. I really like it. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 10. That's just because Firestorm good.
Yeah. 4 out of 10 Firestorms.
Yeah, 4 out of 10 aggressors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love it. Cool. Also, it's good to see something other than a main Codex detachment being taken. Is something else that I really liked about this list as well.
Yeah, well, he's a Dark Angels diehard, so.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Jack Willoughby, one of the other ANZTC players for the ACT. He's running Necrons, and as we previously mentioned, he's running Hypercrypt. He's got a Chronomancer as the Warlord with the Ozio Clay Fulcrum. He's got a Nightbringer, a Void Dragon, a Plasmancer with the Arisen Tyrant enhancement, and a Transcendent to Satan. So there's 3 Satan straight there. He's got unit of 10 Immortals with Tesla, so more than likely the Plasmancer's going in with them to give them crits on 5s. Then a unit of 5 Immortals with Tesla, and then 20 Warriors with Gorse Reapers. So really interesting to see the full brick. I dare say that is actually where the Chronomancer is going for that. I believe he gives them move and shoot.
Yep.
And maybe
move shoot 5.
Yeah. Just trying to think if there's is it -1 to hit against them as well, or is it another? It could be something else. I'm just forgetting.
It could be -1. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's got the Clay Fulcrum. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so, the main reason is just the move shoot.
Yeah.
especially in that detachment.
Yeah, Makari in chat is coming in clutch, just -1 hit for the chrono. Perfect. Yeah, I thought there was a -1 hit there. He's then got 2 units of 5 death marks, a single low curse destroyer, and then a monolith.
Yep. It's somewhat similar to his list he played at the ANZTC. Yeah. Obviously, there's been some point changes, so he's adapted pretty well. I think in our game, we talked about maybe just the brick of 20 warriors would be better than the 10. And oh no, he had 20, didn't he?
He did have a 20, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But this is still a beastie list. As long as he plays those Catan safe, they're a lot more expensive. Just have to play around and then be smart. They're in a really good spot. Obviously, warriors being able to zoom in back into a monolith, then come out within 6 of the monolith, move, shoot. They can get so much OC on the point that is really invasive, and you can't just tag them because they teleport away afterwards. Yep. So yeah, you definitely it will all come down to how safe is that monolith from getting tagged.
Yep.
If it can get tagged, you're in a decent spot. Unless the katana right there next to it ready to slap you.
Yeah. Which is an expected play, right? Especially if you've got a melee, like if you go into a melee heavy list where they've got the units that are able to deal with the monolith, that you go, okay, I'm going to just put something here that is going to be a problem for your melee units if you decide to challenge this.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a blast at ATWN. It was a really good game. He was pushing the clock at the end, and the speed he could do everything. We just stopped him. And we're like, that was awesome. It was really cool. We gave each other a bit of a hug from that. But I think he's a really good player. He knows the faction really well. He knows Hyper Crypt really well. So that's one thing to note. Unfortunately, luckily I'm not playing Admech, who can pick up like 3 Catan in a turn. But I am playing Sally's, and with Firestorm, we ignore mods, +1 a win for Reels to win for 1 CP. So I'm going to have to give this a 3 out of 10 on the 3 out of 10 aggressors. But it's actually a really good list to everything else.
Yeah, definitely agree. And it's, it's not just the typical, from what we've seen as of late, even before points changes, where it's just all immortals with Tesla and just pumping out the shots. It's definitely got some good variation in it as well.
I think with the warrior tech inside, like you can play the immortals a bit more safely, which is good, because then you just try to get isolated picks, and then by getting isolated picks throughout the whole game, you end up on top. So if he plays them safe, which I'm sure he will, he was fairly smart with his positioning for them previously. So yeah, can't wait to see it.
Yep. And then obviously the objective pieces in the death marks and the destroyers. Just being able to pick him up and put him down where he wants them. Because all 3 units got deep strike. Yeah, cool. So next list we're going to look at is Jordan McGregor from New South Wales, one of the Sydney guys. I believe he was also on New South Wales's ANZTC team, running Sisters.
He did exceptionally well, yeah.
I'm not certain if this is very similar to his list that he ran, but there's one reason I picked it out, and we'll get into it once I run through it. He's running the Demifuge, which is Ephrael Stern and Kygnal. Then a missionary with the Saintly Example enhancement. Second missionary in there. Then Saint Celestine with her 2 Gemini. 2 Adeptus Sororitas Rhinos with Hunter Killer Missiles Stormbolters. 2 units of 10 Arcoflagellants. 3 Castigators with triple Heavy Bolters, Hunter Killer Missiles, Stormbolters, and the Battle Cannons. 2 units of 2 Crusaders, an Exorcist with a Heavy Bolter, Hunter Killer Missile, a single Penitent Engine, 2 units of 3 units of 10 Repentia, 2 units of 5 Sephirim, and then a unit of 5 Zephyrim to round out the list. What I like about this list is it deviates away from the core Morvenval brick that Sisters take all too often. That's why I like this list, is it deviates away from it.
Yeah, it's interesting. So basically, like with Sisters, you have, realistically post nerfs of exos, you have either Val lists or non-Val lists. I remember in ANZTC, with Prac and planning, we decided to deviate away from the Val list because it doesn't for mission play as well as what you can without it, because it's a huge brick that costs a lot of points. So triple Casti is the best output you can have. It beats the Vile unit any time of the day. So, operating to keep them and not have to sacrifice anything else. And just have more bodies on the field, so you can have those 30 Repentia with Miracle Dice being able to charge at ridiculous distances. You also have your Arcos there. You have actually a lot of melee in this list.
Yeah.
And very convenient, right? And it's planned because it's also called Sisters of Slaughter, because it's a converted Khorne demon.
That's very cool.
Army, so it's really cool. So he's doing the fluff correctly. Maybe you should remove the Casties, but I don't think he's ever going to remove the Casties. But it's and he's been killing it with this list. He's been absolutely dominating. I would much rather verse the Vile list with my Firestorm than this. So this one here is probably like a 7 or an 8 out of 10 aggressors. It's pretty scary.
Yeah, so just facing down the full 60, like trip full bricks of Repentia and the blenders in I'm forgetting them off the top of my head, the Arcos, because they've just got that 4-up Feel No Pain. It's just something that just makes people go, I have to fight through a 4-up Feel No Pain. It's just rolling 4s. It's the same thing as what Custodes used to be, basically, right? Where Custodes could just roll 4-up, 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 and you just feel like, ugh, this is what this list gives me, that vibe.
Yeah, for only 160 points with 2 wounds per pop. So it's 8 points per wound with a 4-up Feel No Pain. So it works out kind of like 4 points per wound. So yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Yep. Very much so. Very, very much so. Then the next list we're going to look at is one that Andrew's pretty keen to have a look at. And this is Michael House's list. He is running the new Orcs with Speed Freaks as the Cult of Speed.
Yep.
So he has got Boss Snickrot, a Deathkiller Wartrike as the Warlord with the Faster Than Use enhancement. Sorry. I got that around the wrong way. That is incorrect. I read through too quickly. The Deathkiller Wartrike has got the Was Blaster enhancement. Yep. The Warboss in Mega Armor is the Warlord with the Faster Than Use enhancement. That's my bad. I read too fast.
Speed Freak. Yeah.
Gotta talk fast.
Yeah. In a unit of 10 boys in battle line with just sluggers and choppers, basically, with a big chopper on the boss knob. Then a battle wagon with the cannon, lobber, wrecking ball, ard case, and the death roller with the 4 big shooters. 2 units of 6 death copters. With their copter rockets and spinning blades.
Yep, love it.
Yeah, that's a lot of rocket shots.
I've got 18 getting sorted.
Or a unit of 10 Gretchen to sit on your home field and just go CP, here you go. Unit of 10 Commandos for some infiltration and some screening. Unit of 5 Meganobs where the Warboss will probably go, and they're probably going to go into the battle wagon, I believe, would be where they belong.
If he's got any trucks, I think if he's got 5 and the Warboss will fit in a truck.
He does not have any trucks, I believe. Let me just have a
then they'll be in the battle wagon most likely.
Yeah, there's no trucks. Yeah, so they'll be in the battle wagon. Then 3 Mega Track Scrap Jets.
More rockets.
Yep. So many rockets because the wing missiles as well as the rocket cannon. Then 3 shock jump dragsters so they're just jumping around doing stuff because they're the ones that teleport when you advance them.
And they also have a precision gun. Best shooting in the Orc army, hits on 3s. And it's might be strength 9 or 10, like AP3, D6 plus 1 damage precision. So it's Orcs, so who knows? But you give it a fair shot, and with this detachment getting the ability to shoot after you've jumped, you can actually use the gun on this thing.
Yes. Then 2 units of 5 Storm Boys, and then a unit of 6 Warbikers. With a power claw on the boss knob. Oh, this is a really interesting list. I actually really like it because it's got these 7 small fast vehicles that are just like, yeah, cool, you kill me, I'm like 75, 80 points. I've still got all this other stuff that I can throw at you. It reminds me of what they were when they were first released in 9th. Where they were just dominating the meta because people were just like, yeah, I'll take 3 individuals here, 3 individuals there, 3 individuals. And it just was dominating, particularly in the US is where I saw it dominating quite well. It didn't do as... UK as well.
Yeah, UK was the plane spam. They also, at the same time, ran, I think there was only one possible counter to orcs at the time, which was the AdMech, which was 6 planes with -1 to hit and +2 to save. It was a wild time to be alive. Then they both just went nerf bin. So that was huge in the UK, mainly due to Manny Chima spamming both. So we got the name Spammy Chima.
I think he's had that nickname for a while.
He has, yeah. Good on him for showing what's broken. But
yes.
So look, this is pretty scary. Look, one thing some people might feel a bit confident into it is going, oh, I can actually just bring it down. But if you're, say, running a melee army with the teleporting and everything else, it's actually really hard to commit and get to these. And you have to remember that they're also still a decently good amount of toughness. And with how cover works in the game now, the save isn't all that bad. You have to actually put in dedicated anti-tank. Now, a lot of people only bring X amount of dedicated anti-tank, which is why they have issues going into armies such as, Chaos Knights, Imperial Knights, things like that, Iron They think, hey, good, these are out of the meta, won't be bad, and then all of a sudden this comes in and you've got another high toughness army to try and chew through. And it's an absolute marine killer. Those rockets are amazing into marines, so it's pretty scary. I love it though. It's such a cool list, and he's played something like this in the past, so really happy that he's playing it again.
Yeah,
it'll be beautifully painted as well. It'll look amazing.
Oh yeah, if I would love to see Michael play this on stream. This is probably, out of these 5 lists, this is
round
the
one done. Guarantee it. And what's the bet? It's going to be versing Rowan or someone, so it's like the best round 1 ever.
Just be like, oh gosh, this should be a round 5 game, not a round 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm really keen to see this one be played and show it off, because yes, you see a lot of action. I think I caught Wargames Live a bit yesterday, and it was Orcs v Orcs at the top table of the tournament he was covering, and it's like, cool. Whereas this, I think it was, both of them were bully boys, I believe, going into each other. Different variations.
You can make more 4-ups.
Yeah.
Yep. Who goes first? Well, who goes second?
Yeah.
So seeing Cult of Speed out there is definitely going to be a nice change of pace, I think, for Orc players to actually see, no, you can do something else outside of just double war or just 120 Orc boys.
Yep.
All right. And then the last list we have got is Sean Bauman. I believe that is how I pronounce Sean's last name. I hope it is. Otherwise, it is what it is. I suck at pronunciation half the time. I'm happy to wear it. And he is running...
just call me the Greek for a reason, right? It's fine. I'm not mad. I'm not salty.
It's just a nickname that stuck for you, Alex. Like, I'm half Greek as well, and I can pronounce your last name.
Yeah, you're actually pretty good at it. Yeah. That's why you get infinite Chinese food. Don't worry, bro. Us Greeks love our Chinese.
Oh, yeah. So he's named it It's a Short List. It's a dwarf pun, basically.
That's pretty good.
But why I picked this one out is that he's running something a bit different. He's got 3 Iron Hair champions as his characters. There is no Carls here. One Iron Hair is the Warlord with the Appraising Glare. Another one has got Wayfarer's Grace, and the third has got Grim Demeanor. He's got the typical unit of 10 Hearthcomb Warriors as battle line, with the Missile Launcher, the Magna Rail Mini Pack, and Pan-Spectral Scanner, and all the
free war gear.
Yep. All the free stuff. 3 3 Sagittars with the high las beam cannon instead of the, we've talked about Kirby's Votan previously, where he prefers to take the missile launcher over the high las. So it's good to see the high las still seeing some play. He's got 5 Scythonian Berserks with a mole launcher. Then 3 units of 5 Einhir Hearthguard. It looks as though all 3 units have got the Edakan, I always struggle pronouncing these, Edakan plasma guns and the concussion gauntlets with the concussion hammer on the Hessia. Then it is 2 Hekaton land fortresses with the Mater autocannon, the Panspectral scanner, the heavy conversion beamer, and 2 twin bolt cannons. And then 3 units of 3 Hearthkin pioneers with the Rollbar searchlight, Panspectral scanner, and the High-Las rotary cannon.
Yeah, cool.
In all of them. So though the Hearthkin are pretty stable in terms of the pioneers. It's good to see land fortresses starting to come back in as well. But the interesting thing about having the 3 bricks of 5 Hearthguard is what really caught my attention with the Einhirs in them. So, what do you guys think of this list?
It's interesting, right? Because the Hearthguard are basically, with the champion, they still work out cheaper than like a 5 Termi, kind of brick, like with a character combo. So they're a bit, less efficient than a Terminator, but they're still Terminators that get access to +1 hit, +1 wound, and one of them ignoring mods and things like that. So it's still potent and scary. So they have crazy volume. Like, I mean, I know you just look at the plasma, but when you look at the grenade launchers and everything else as well, it's quite a bit. I think, I don't know why, but a lot of people moved away from Berserks when they got cheaper and they have, the ability to indirect and slow your movement, which is just great in general. But then they also have Fight and Death. The meta, in my opinion, and I've been saying this to a lot of people I coach, but it's migrating that a lot of people are actually finding openings to run, melee armies now. And with Custodes out of favor, that contributed to it, but also other armies had things get cheaper. Even Elder got their melee cheaper. That's how crazy the world's going, right? So it's such a prominent thing that I think a lot of people are going to start noticing a lot more as the meta progresses. And maybe I'm wrong, it could be, but having things like this, having things like, as an example, Wolfen, with Fight on Death as well natively, these things are just like insane. So I think they're really good pieces because they allow you to do one core thing at the end of the game. It's firstly disrupting the enemy's movement paths and making it harder for them to achieve their goals. But secondly, they also allow you for really good trade efficiency. So, really cool thing. Can't wait to see how it all works. I would imagine that because the champions and the Hearthguard can't fit in the Sagis, you're going to have both units of warriors split in a Sagi each, and you're going to have the Berserks in the other Sagi. So that way you don't have the Sagis auto blow up. Don't know what's holding his back objective. If we can scroll down again, we might be able to see.
Yeah. So there's the 3 Sagis. He's got the.
He might just disembark straight away, to be fair.
Yeah.
And that might be his play. It looks like it. So it's probably like a disembark, and maybe there's a Hekaton around there that then moves forward later.
The one thing that now going over the missions, I think that Sean, depending on how it plays, he might potentially struggle on sites. This is the mission that I picked out that would be one that struggles on sites, because having the Einhir champions in the Hearthguard bricks and the Hearthguard are wanting to go out and do the damage, potentially in combat, it means that he has to choose whether he sits on an objective with them, not doing that and just relying on range to do the damage with his list, or he goes out and loses out on those 3 extra victory points per objective.
Yeah, it's interesting. Luckily, I guess the one positive is that the enemy's win condition's the same, where they do have to hold those objectives, namely with characters. And the other side of this is that Einhir champions slap really hard. And if you just get them into an enemy that's holding the objective, get into it, and then just pop your epic challenge, you're wiping them out.
Yeah.
No problem. Yeah. So it's those mass hammers are pretty good.
Yeah. So, funnily enough, he's only got 2 with the mass hammers. One's got the Dark Star Axe, which is his Warlord.
Okay.
But
Cool.
yeah. So, overall, that is going to kind of wrap up our look, ladies and gentlemen, at Capital Clash. I want to thank everyone for joining us in chat. And Mr. Crunch, I was not technically throwing shade at 120 boys. I was just more saying that that's a build that exists. But yeah, Alex and Andrew, have you guys got any final thoughts you want to share about the tournament that's happening this weekend?
I just hope everyone has a good time, honestly. I've got a lot of terrain, so we've got a whole lot of new terrain that I'm madly building at the moment, hoping to get it all done. So I've got sort of half of it painted. The other half probably won't get painted, which is disappointing to me. So we'll see how we go. So hopefully you'll forgive me for unpainted terrain, but it is Games Workshop appropriate, so it'll work well for all the missions and layouts.
Yeah, awesome. Alex, any final thoughts from yourself?
Nothing at all. Change, if you delay it by another week, I'll be there, and we'll go from there, mate. I've seen all the lists now. I can adequately counter. No, well, too lazy to do that anyway. But yeah, I think it's going to be really exciting. I know when I do get moments, particularly probably day 2, I'll try and jump in and see how things are going in the chat, and I can't wait to really experience it, and really excited to see who wins. If anyone wants to jump in, Scotty's personally investing, a whole bunch of money for us to start like a betting system here in the syndicate. So we can make the bets and go from there. No, but yeah, we're good. Really keen to see it. You got some great guys there. I think it's going to be an event that has little to no issues because you guys manage it really well, and people are going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah, it's going to be a great event. I'm looking forward to it. Being down in Canberra once again. So yeah, we'll have live coverage basically from, I think, 15 minutes after doors open, I think is what I've put it as. But we'll see how we go. Basically, as soon as we can get the stream up for round 1 and get that all sorted, we'll be having live coverage here. And it won't just be here on Twitch. It'll also be on our YouTube channel because we'll be multi-streaming it once again, which has been awesome to be able to do that as well. That's going to be a massive boon for us as we continue to push towards community monetization on there as well. But yeah, I want to thank everyone who has joined us in chat. And if you do want to stay up to date with when the streams are going live, the best spots to catch us is on our socials and on our Discord, which I've just linked in chat. Jump in there. You can get notified straight away when we do the streams because I tag everyone in the Discord there. And the first 2 rounds, if you are a subscriber and you're in the Discord, you guys actually get to have a bit of a say in terms of what factions you like to see on rounds 1 and 2 as well. Because I like to, have that as a bit of a reward for those who do support us financially here at the network. So I really appreciate it. And also to those on YouTube, really appreciate you guys for watching the entire video. Liking, sharing with your friends, subscribing to the channel, leaving your comments down below as well. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Andrew and Alex, thank you so much for your time, for jumping on tonight to have a chat about the tournament. I really appreciate it.
No worries, thank you.
And that's going to be us here from the Australian Tabletop Wargaming Network, ladies and gentlemen. I've been ScottyD, and we hope to catch you in chat for the live coverage happening from Capital Clash down in Canberra this weekend. We hope you have a great rest of your week, and we hope to catch you on the weekend. See you soon.